I'm Senator Rosen. I'm here with my partner in Nevada, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, and we are welcoming you to our weekly Battleborn update. What's going on here in Washington? What's going on in the state? And of course, in Nevada, we have some very good news this week. It seemed like we flattened the curve, and the governor and their plan to reopen is happening. And I was happy to see yesterday on television that the Bellagio fountains shot back to life with a special presentation. What that means for us is that we're on the road to recovery. Even if it's slow, we're going to come back. I know we're going to be better than ever. But I'm going to turn this over to Catherine for a few moments because we also had a very somber day yesterday, as we've had over the last few weeks, as we all together watched the memorial and the funeral for George Floyd. And we have to talk about things and see how we move forward together as a nation to fight the systemic racism. Catherine.
Thank you, Jackie. It's always great to work with you in the Senate. So glad that you are there and the opportunity to have these Battleborn discussions now that they're not breakfast. Soon they'll be breakfast again. But let me just say, first of all, for purposes of all of the work that we do, it is exciting to see our state starting to reopen again. And we know we've been so hard hit because of the hospitality and tourism industry. And everybody is asking us. I know all of our colleagues are asking, how's it going in Nevada? How are you opening up? Because I truly believe we are going to be the test case. If anybody can get it right, it is Nevada, right? Las Vegas and Reno. If we focus and we open our doors again, keep our workers safe, but make sure that our incredible visitors who love to come to our state are safe, we'll get this right, and it'll be a model for the rest of the country. So we're watching, and we're going to continue to support. But you're right, as we are here in Washington, D.C., and what we see happening in our state, but across the country, all of the protests, and rightfully so, peaceful protesters that are coming forward, asking all of us in this country to listen with compassion so that we can understand and make change to the systemic racism that we see in this country. It is happening. And yesterday, not only the funeral service of George Floyd, but what we see happening just makes it that much more real that we are in the heart of it right here, and there's an opportunity for us in the Senate to really bring that change. And I just, it's been a tough week, I think, for our staff, for so many people in our state. I know I have heard from so many people in the state of Nevada about the concerns that they're seeing. And let me just say, because I've got a couple of letters, and I know, Jackie, you do as well, but I've heard from...
I want to read one, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard from Henderson, I've heard from Las Vegas, and I know we both have those letters. Why don't you go ahead and talk about what you're hearing in the letters that you have?
Well, I know that Catherine does this as well as I do. We speak with our faith leaders regularly, and yesterday afternoon, after the memorial was over, I was so honored to be on a call with our African American faith leaders up and down the state. It was very emotional. They shared with me their stories. They shared with me their anxieties, their pain, their hopes, their dreams, their wish for more help for mental health services designed by and for the African American community as they struggle through so many issues that they've had over the years and how we move forward. And we're going to continue to work with them and have these conversations so that when Catherine and I, we're as strong as the stories that we hear, so we can repeat them and we know what we're fighting for and why we're doing it. And so we've been getting many letters, but here's one from Rose in Las Vegas that really touched me, and I'm going to read it on behalf of her and for all of our hopes. It says, "Dear Senator Rosen, I'm reaching out in hopes that you and your team will work proactively and preemptively to develop fair laws regarding police brutality, the criminal justice system, and funding towards education. My message has been inspired by the murder of George Floyd. I know that many strong, talented, good-hearted police officers are out there working hard every day and deserve protection. However, time and time again, police officers have not been held accountable for violence against innocent people, especially Black people. This issue tears apart communities and has created deep unrest in our country. At a national level, please pursue actions that create accountability for bad actors within law enforcement, dismantle for-profit prisons, and allocate financial resources to education in underrepresented communities and for Black and Indigenous people of color. Please show the nation that these are the things that Nevada stands for. These are the things that Nevadans are paying attention to. Your actions regarding these topics matter and will always be remembered. We thank Rose. I know that Senator Duckworth just this week um, put forth a bill to protect to protect uh, and inform about police brutality. It's called the Police Training and Independent Review Act, where we're wanting to give independent review agencies to oversee forms of aggression. And there's so many other things going on. So I'm going to turn it back over to Catherine. We're doing that, so many other things, trying to get back to all the work we have to do. We have a pandemic besides.
Thank you, Jackie. And as Jackie has said, we have heard from so many leaders and individuals in our community, and on a regular basis, speaking out and talking with members of our Black community. And one of the things that I think we have understand, and we need to make sure we are all listening, right? Right now, it is about compassion and listening and understanding so that we can make change. But what we realize is to address the systemic racism that is happening in our country, there's a number of things that we need to focus on. We look at not only the justice reform, police reform, criminal justice reform, but it's economic reform, right? It is making sure that our small businesses, whether they are minority owned, women owned, that they have access to liquidity. I see, as I sit on my committees and fighting against continued discrimination to our small businesses, minority owned businesses, to housing, to education, to healthcare, access to healthcare. There's a lot of that happening right now. And this requires us to come together and take bold action. That's what's happening in the Senate right now with our colleagues. This is our focus, is to take this bold action and how we address this systemic racism that we see in this country. So we have worked on a number of things already. Jackie just talked about it. We have other bills that we've introduced. We actually joined a resolution that affirms the constitutional rights of Americans to peacefully assemble and protest, and condemns the president for ordering federal officers to use violence against peaceful protesters right here in Washington, D.C. We have called on the Department of Justice to conduct an investigation into the patterns and practice of racial, discriminatory, and violent policing in Minneapolis Police Department. And there's more that we are going to be introducing and talking about in the coming weeks. But right now, as I talk to so many within our community, it is compassion, right, Jackie? It is listening. Yes. It is understanding what our Black men and women are dealing with. I don't think about this, but as I listen to our colleagues and I listen to our community, just be free to walk down the street as a Black man, or sit in your car, or jog down the street, or sleep in your bed as a Black man or woman. They're threatened. And that's something we have to address as a country. We have to own it, and we have to make change. And so I'm so pleased by just the conversation we're having amongst our Senate colleagues on understanding this, and then trying to address the racism that we see in this country now and bring positive change.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I was going to say, on top of all that, we're going back to work because, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic is still out there. The virus is still out there. It's still attacking communities of color even more than other communities, but it's in every single city and town, not just in America, but around the world. And as the science moves towards treatment, therapies, and a vaccine, all of our testing, we need to be sure that we protect lives and livelihoods as we begin to reopen, open schools, universities, go shopping, go on a vacation, visit with our friends, be able to go to a restaurant. How do we do that safely? And how do we support particularly those individuals and businesses that aren't going to open up fully right away or open up at all right away? So we have to be sure that whatever legislation we do, we're hoping to pass that some version of the HEROES Act. It'll be the next COVID related bill that is, again, targeted, timely, and thoughtful, because if you're that group of people that are not going to be able, maybe movie theaters are not opening up. So if you're the group of people that work in movie theaters, you can't go back to work. And so how do we support you while other industries are opening back up, offices, maybe retail? So that's what we're working on. That's what we're going to try to do between the two of us, Catherine and I. When I came to the Senate, we decided that we wanted Nevada's voice to be heard across as many places as two senators could possibly be. So between us, we're on 10 separate committees, and we are on over 20 different subcommittees, task force, caucuses, you name it. We are everywhere. We work as a team. Our teams, some of them known each other since high school in Nevada, because that's how Nevada is. And we work together, and that's how we feel that we can potentiate our work as a team with all of us coordinating and cooperating. We do so many things. We want to let you know that we have pages up for COVID-19, pages up for small business related issues due to COVID-19. So many others. Our teams are your teams. We are here to help. I'm going to give Catherine the last word, but not before I tell you to do this. Go to cortezmasto.senate.gov or rosen.senate.gov. Our websites, they're in multiple languages. I think mine's up to 6 languages now: English, Spanish, Chinese, Thai, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. We don't want language to be a barrier for anyone to get help. If you can't find the information you need on either one of our websites, use those emails there, use the phone number. I can tell you our offices answer the call. So with that, we hope to see you again next week, soon enough in person. I'm going to let Catherine close this one out. And please be well, be safe, and be healthy, Nevada.
Thank you, Jackie. And as Jackie has said, our goal here is to be your advocates. And right now, we recognize we're in the middle of a health crisis, an economic crisis, a civil rights crisis. But please know, as we work through all of this together, we can turn it into positive change. And right now, do not forget that at the end of the day, the health crisis is driving a lot of what we're seeing around the economic piece of this. And so we are still focused on ensuring that as we go into the next couple of weeks, additional legislation coming out of Congress continues also to appropriate funds to focus on the health crisis and the economic piece of it. So that is our commitment here in the Senate. And like Jackie said, if you need resources or access to information, call our offices or access our website, let us know. We're here to be your voice and to fight on your behalf. So thank you for joining us again, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.